This is the story of a shy, polite lawyer who hated violence, loved flowers, and accidentally became one of history's most prolific killers. He started his career refusing to sentence anyone to death. He thought the death penalty was barbaric. He literally quit being a judge rather than send a man to die. His name was Maximilien Robespierre. People called him the Incorruptible. He was almost suspiciously perfect. He didn't drink, didn't cheat, dressed immaculately, and ate a frankly alarming number of oranges. And he genuinely, deeply wanted to make the world a better place. Then came 1789. France was broke, starving, and completely done with kings. A mob stormed a giant royal prison called the Bastille, mostly to grab gunpowder. It became the symbol of the whole revolution. In the chaos, Robespierre found his stage, a political club called the Jacobins, where he could talk and talk and talk. He rode the chaos with a single obsession: virtue. Pure, total, slightly terrifying virtue. Meanwhile, the actual king, Louis XVI, tried to sneak out of the country in disguise. He got recognized from his face on a coin. That was the end of the king's credibility. The revolutionaries put him on trial. Robespierre, the man who hated the death penalty, argued the king had to die. And so he did. Yes, the death penalty guy, voting to behead the king. Keep that in mind. With the king gone, Robespierre and the radicals decided France needed a totally fresh start. A very fresh start. So they cancelled time itself. They threw out the 1,000-year-old calendar. They reset the year to 1 and renamed all 12 months after the weather and crops. Real month names included misty, snowy, flowery, and heaty. A poet made them up. They even rebranded the playing cards. Kings and queens were too royal, so they became geniuses, liberties, and virtues. Poker night was never the same. Weeks were stretched to 10 days. The weekend, as a concept, was simply deleted. Then they came for the clocks. 10 hours a day, 100 minutes an hour. Nobody could tell the time ever again. Not everything was insane. This same burst of mania gave us the metric system, which, annoyingly, actually worked. They also tried to cancel religion, renaming churches temples of reason and melting down the silver. Robespierre thought that was a step too far. So naturally, he invented his own religion instead, with himself as the star. He threw a giant festival, climbed a fake mountain, and basically crowned himself High Priest of Virtue. People started to get nervous. And then came the part everyone politely forgets to mention. France was being invaded from outside and plotted against from within. So the revolution created an emergency committee of public safety. Robespierre quietly became its most powerful voice. The polite lawyer now basically ran France. And to protect the Republic from its enemies, he unleashed what they openly call the Terror. A new law made it illegal to be suspicious. Not guilty, just suspicious, which could mean anything. Crowds treated executions as entertainment. Women would sit and knit right beside the guillotine, counting heads like stitches. Tribunals worked like conveyor belts. Around 17,000 people were officially executed. Many more died in prison. Robespierre called terror an emanation of virtue. He wasn't joking. He thought killing thousands was the kind thing to do. The man who once resigned over a single death sentence was now approving them by the cartload. He even guillotined his own friends. Danton, a revolutionary hero, dared to suggest maybe slowing down, off with his head. Queen Marie Antoinette went to the blade too. And no, she never said, let them eat cake. That line was basically fake news from before she even arrived in France. Someone joked the revolution was like a god that devours its own children. Robespierre was running low on children. Then he passed a law that removed the right to a defense entirely. Trials now had two outcomes: freedom or death. Mostly death. In the final 7 weeks alone, the blade took nearly 1,400 more people. They literally called this part the Great Terror, which tells you how the normal terror had been going. Paris stopped asking who was guilty and started quietly asking who was next. Robespierre grew paranoid, exhausted, and ill, convinced enemies were everywhere. Honestly, by now, they were. Pale, sickly, and squinting through tinted glasses, the incorruptible was starting to look less like a saint and more like a video game final boss. On the 26th of July, he gave a huge speech claiming a new list of traitors hid inside the government. But when they begged him to name the traitors, he refused, which meant every single person in the room thought, "It's me! He's coming for me!" So for the first time, the room turned on him. They voted to arrest the incorruptible himself. There was a frantic, chaotic night. His allies tried to rescue him in the town hall. It did not go well. Cornered, Robespierre tried to shoot himself, missed, and shattered his own jaw instead. The next day, they dragged him, bandaged and silent, to his own beloved guillotine. The executioner ripped the bandage off his shattered jaw. He let out a scream that silenced the whole square until the blade fell. He died on the 9th of Thermidor, a summer month from a calendar he had helped invent. Within a year, the terror was over. The scary clocks were scrapped, and the weekend cautiously returned. But the metric system stuck. The calendar limped on until Napoleon quietly killed it. And the polite lawyer who hated death became its most famous face. Napoleon finally scrapped the mad calendar in 1806. France had spent 12 whole years genuinely not knowing what day it was. Noble intentions, an absolutely unhinged ending. That's history, the uncool way.